Hey, what's going on, guys? It is Ash here. I am not alone. I'm joined by Simon. It is Hades. Hades, it's been a hot minute, man. How you been? How you doing?
I'm doing really good, man. Yeah, like getting ready for the holidays. It's been a crazy year. Honestly, it's been a crazy year. But yeah, no, I'm doing really well. How about you?
It's been same, man. I'm kind of like, I don't know. I hate to say it, but I'm kind of stressed in the holidays. I hate to admit it, but no, I mean, I'm just trying to do everything last minute as always. But overall, I'm doing really well, man. I can't wait to catch up with you. I obviously want to ask a lot about Godforge and Fateless, kind of get an update, especially how folks can get involved if they so choose. There's a lot of opportunity to kind of get in a little bit early before the big launch next year or this year, depending on when you're watching this video. But I have to ask first, man, because inquiring minds want to know, aka me, where's your head at right now with Raid Shadow Legends and your YouTube channel and content? Because I've noticed that you used to be, man, when I started covering Raid, I think we started around the same time with our channels. I remember you were like 2 or 3 videos a day. I'm like, dude, how does he do it? How does he do it? And the website. And now I can't help but notice that for probably obvious reasons, you're down to a few times a week. So I want to just know, like, where's your head at with Raid right now, and how much of your time has been reallocated to Godforge, and what are your plans for the channel moving forward?
Yeah, the reality is I've become a bit of a casual raid player. I still play the game. I still get involved in my siege battles, all that type of stuff, but I'm just not in the same headspace as I was. There's so much time allocation that goes into building this company, building the game, getting ourselves ready for launch. It's just a ton. Who would have thought, right? Building a game that's as big as this, it's a ton of work, man. It's really like just eats my day away. And I get to the point where actually until Grim Forest came out, I was like, well, I'm struggling for content that I feel like is still fresh and interesting and all those type of things. So I was kind of getting a bit of a content burnout anyway, but then I'll be honest with you, I've not played Grim Forest yet, and I'm really excited to play it. I actually feel like the feature looks brilliant, but I haven't even had a chance to play it, man.
Yeah, so, that's a lot of time. It's time consuming, and what it does is Grim Forest, I really enjoy it, and I think they nailed it. It's really cool. I think you'll like it. It's a cool feature. They thought of a lot of ways to make new content in a 7-year-old game feel interesting and new and fresh. They did a great job, but the ancillary effect, though, is it makes areas like Centranos, like Cursed City and all that stuff feel like really stale, and super time consuming, because it's like, in a lot of ways, it's a way improved version of something like that.
Well, that's what I thought. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in it.
The community at large seems to really love it, which is cool.
Yeah, but no, my focus day to day right now is making sure that we deliver the best possible game in Godforge, and working with the team to sort of hit that. So it's literally like a case of I go in. I'm doing reviews, like screen by screen. Is everything working right? Are we hitting the right sort of visuals? All of those things. It's kind of like you just wouldn't believe the amount of work. You just wouldn't believe it. It's fun, but it's tons to do.
I'm actually showing some clips of your top 30 heroes. I'm not sure if it's changed, but so you guys can see like a real a glimpse of some of these character designs, some of these hero designs, especially some of Simon's favorites in the background. I'll link, by the way, the Fateless channels and the social for all of you guys. Was it hard to trim down on content? Because even though you're a really busy dude, you can kind of get addicted to the grind. You can kind of get addicted to, in a weird way, like almost feel like it's an obligation. Like I could be sick and in bed and family visiting from out of town. I'd be like, well, how can I get a raid video? So was it tough at first?
It was definitely tough at first. And talking about what I used to do, I used to be like a 2 or 3 uploader. If I was going away for a week, I'd make sure I pre-recorded 7 videos for that week. I was like definitely on that grind, man. And it feels bad, like that. It's like a part of my sort of day-to-day's changed. And I saw the post who's your favorite content creators you've watched this year type of post going up.
Oh, okay.
And I was looking around and I'm just like, and just know I'm not going to be on these anymore because I'm not the day-to-day guy anymore. I'm just not.
I think the good thing you have is you have a lot of credibility in the community, obviously, right? And a lot of that is obviously your content, how long you were the guy for so many people in the game, but also your website and the community and the Hades network and the community. I think that it's still a super, like, I think people understand is what I'm saying. Sometimes you see creators fall off and you're just like, what happened to them? But people are like,
I'm still here, guys.
I hear a lot of like, Hades is busy, but can't wait for Godforge, not what happened to Hades, which I think is a pretty good, especially given the game and stuff. So what do you think about the YouTube channel itself? Do you think that you'll cover a Godforge alongside Raid, or just cover Raid and start a new Godforge channel, or is it all up in the air at this point for you?
So I think, once we get to the point where we've released the early access and we've got a flow going of releases and monthly updates, I'm all up for covering Godforge. And I feel like with Raid, I've kind of like pushed into what's the key news events, what's the kind of like interesting stuff that's dropping. And obviously the guys that are basically working on the website, they're still there. That it was never just me creating all the guys, that type of stuff. We've got like 17 people on that site, so all of that still carries on, trying to make sure that all of that is still up to date. I still have a voice in terms of what we're doing and how we're doing it. But yeah, ultimately for the channel, I'm thinking some Godforge, just to show people like the experience of me playing through my own game. I think that could be pretty fun. And then obviously keeping up with the sort of main Raid, like big hit and stuff. And it might be as well, like sometimes having a bit of a break from being really intense in a game. Like I've been really intense playing Raid for 6 years basically at this point. Almost taking a step back might just reinvigorate that sort of love that I had as well, because I'd say it's ebbed. My love right now is what we're doing in terms of building this game, rather than that sort of phase of my life where it's like Raid was one of my big passions. I still enjoy the game, but not to the same level. So maybe that rekindles a bit once I'd sort of go back in there.
Yeah, you say, they say sometimes when you love something, you let it go, and if it comes back to you, it was meant to be. So maybe that will be your journey with Raid. So it will be cool to have that perspective. I want to kind of segue a little bit into Raid, talking about Raid, but also Godforge as well, because I've seen some people be like, you're taking too many chances on stuff like the imprints and stuff like that. This might not work, or some of the roguelike elements that you guys had plan for Godforge, like this doesn't work in this genre. I've seen like that kind of feedback. I've also seen a lot of feedback where, well, you're just copying Raid, dude. So like you see it on both sides, right? And I think the truth is probably in the middle, where you're probably taking a lot of what you love about these games and you're also adding your own stuff to it to make it a little bit more unique. So in that vein, I'm curious, what is some elements that inspired, I would say, Godforge based on Raid and other games, watchers that you played, and what are other things that you see as like differentiators?
Our rule of thumb is kind of like 80%, and it's not just Raid, is it? It's this genre, right? But the 80% is like what works really well in the genre, and then like find the groups that have done it the best. So Raid have done some great things, but actually Watch of Realms done some great things. Dragonair does some great things. Summoner's War does some great things. Like there's tons. Final Fantasy VII, one of my favorite ever games.
Even failed games like King Arthur and stuff. Like I don't know if it's still around, but like there's glimmers sometimes that you can pick up on.
The team play literally thousands of hours in this style of genre, and anytime a new game comes out, one of the design team will do like a full teardown of the game. Looking at features, looking at how we can try and just basically bring out the best possible product, right? So we constantly iterating and then innovating really with like the 20%. So 80% is like, let's get systems that we know work. We know that people are used to leveling to level 60. We're not going to change that. The number doesn't really make a big difference to us. So there's some stuff that just works, and then there's some stuff that we think we can have some real fun with. One of those areas is like the normalized modes, the ability to basically use heroes that you don't currently own, and use them with different builds that you wouldn't be able to do yourself day to day, and then really like discover whether that you can find the fun with those different heroes and decide actually you want to go after them if there's like summoning events, that type of thing. Honestly, from the alpha, there was 3 systems which we were really excited about, and for the alpha we put out surveys. What do you think we've done really well? What did you really enjoy? And it was brilliant, actually, because those 3 all were at the top of the feedback in terms of this really feels fun, this feels different, it feels like I've got a different type of strategy. And that's really like our weapon with imprints. So in Godforge, you can earn or gain legendary, like these like mythical weapons. So you could get like Excalibur or Mjolnir, or weapons that you would have heard of from these different mythoses. You can then imprint the passive of a different hero onto that weapon. So the weapon will have its own like ability, if you like, its own skill, which you power up as you power up the weapon. But then you can imprint a hero's passive onto that weapon, which can completely like change the type of build that you're trying to do. And Yeah, I mean, we just saw some really fun stuff from the community through the alphas.
So like in raid terms, I can take like Odin's block damage passive and imprint that onto a weapon and give that to somebody else?
Yeah, so if you take the example here, basically the passive that you imprint will be like a slightly weaker version of the hero's passive, right? So if it was Odin's, it wouldn't be like I'm giving the whole team block damage. I'm just giving myself block damage.
Oh, I like that. I like that. It's kind of like when you fight a raid boss, you don't necessarily get the boss version. You get a little bit of a watered down version, you know?
Yeah,
so,
but still impactful enough to like completely change the way you might have your sort of play style with that champ, you know?
Are you worried? That sounds like a nightmare to balance. I'm just going to be real with you, you know? Like, are you worried about it? And how do you go about balancing a game with this many moving parts? I guess a lot of it is just wait till players get their hands on it and break it and then work on it, you know, that way?
Literally, in the alpha, 2 passives broke the game. One passive where you just basically end up with infinite healing. There was one passive where you charge up, and I'll talk about the third point, which is ultimates and our ultimate system. But yeah, there was one passive where Aphrodite was just charging up everyone's ultimates nonstop. Like, it was just like everyone was just doing like basically the equivalent of an A3 in raid.
It's kind of fun though,
over and over again.
Yeah, kind of fun to see those things.
It's great. Like, and this is why, you know, until you do put a game out in front of literally thousands of players, we had 35,000 players coming for the alpha.
Insane.
It's you don't spot all of these things, and actually it enabled us to change some of our design decisions. So take the Aphrodite example. Instead now of charging up everyone's ults, we're like, well, it won't do it for the whole team. It will do it for one individual on the team. So still cool, still like you're getting your ultimate fast, but it's not breaking the game. Okay. So yeah, but I'm sure that look, there'll be stuff like that over time as we implement. You know, that the alpha was nearly 70 heroes. We're going to be launching with over 200. We've obviously playtested daily, and we've got a QA team that playtests daily. But we'll still find stuff that's broken in that early access, and we'll have to tweak stuff. But yeah, I think sometimes breaking a game is actually kind of fun.
It's kind of like how, like, you know, security governments hire hackers to come in and hack them, right? It's kind of like the same vibe of like, okay, give me what you got, man. Give me what you got.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
Pretty cool.
But yeah, just talking to the other system, like, so our ultimate system's the other one, which is a real innovation. You have a kind of basic ability, a core ability. You have these passives, which are obviously passives, so they're not abilities, but then you charge up an ultimate. Different types of heroes will charge ultimates in different ways. So it might be a case of somebody who lands a lot of debuffs will get part of their meter with every debuff they land.
Oh, so cool.
Damage dealer, it might be, well, every time I inflict any damage, I get some ultimate meter. You might have a tank, a defender, where it's like, anytime someone's hit with shield, I get like 25% of my ultimate meter. There's a whole bunch of different mechanics, but then there's also an initiative stat. So you can imagine speed, but for filling an ultimate meter.
Okay.
So
that changes the rate in which it fills, basically.
Yeah. So for every turn you take, your ultimate meter will also fill based on your initiative. So it kind of gives you 2 stats to play around with in terms of, like a PvP meta, because you've got, do I just want to go quickly, or actually do I want to fill my ultimate fast? Okay. So, and actually there'll be like heroes that have got abilities that will grant you initiative. There'll be some heroes that, there'll be some weapons that just give you like a hit of divinity, which pushes your ultimate meter up. It's just another mechanic. And the cool thing about ultimates is I can just strategically wait and stack abilities. So as long as it's my turn, any ultimates that are available, I could literally do them all. I could do 5 ultimates on my turn and then take my turn. Which means you could get some really like savage combos going.
Yeah, that's really cool. The only experience I've had like that in a game like this is it doesn't sound like exactly as it's going to be in Godforge, but as kind of the Watcher of Realms ultimate with the timing and stuff, and having that autonomy to control that. That's that's cool. Like, I think it's going to be super dynamic too. How are you going to do auto runs? Is it just going to basically copy what you did, or in terms of the timing, or?
So it'll be a case of, it'll be kind of similar to the way you set up Braid AI at the moment, right?
Like
so it'll be a case of this is the order that I will use my abilities in. And once it'll be a case of like, if I've used it once, I can hold it. So use my ultimate once and then hold it for next wave type of thing. So we've got some plans around how to do that, but ultimately it will lead to, I think, some of the PvP combat being actually bought rather than just like everything auto. If people really want to sort of min-max an experience. And yeah, I think for that, certainly for PvP, this ability to sort of chain ultimates together could end up like just creating some really fun stuff.
It's really cool. And it's like a lot of strategic, maybe depth there, right? Where like you need to know, if you're in PvP, you need to know how, not only what ultimate each adversary hero has, but also how they charge their ultimates, and you know what to avoid, and maybe how to mitigate that on your side, you know. So that's really cool. There's like some dynamic counterplay options there. What keeps you up at night, Hades? What keeps you up at night? Like, what is obviously you have a ton going for you, a rabid community. Heck, you've got like, gosh, a dozen content creators. You have several who are still making videos, even though the game is not even playable, which is always a good sign. And you have a great team with so much experience, everything from the lore and the storytelling to the visuals and the art to the actual game mechanics. So it feels like everything, and you raised millions and millions of dollars. I mean, you've got a lot going for you. What keeps you up at night? Like, what do you, or do you just feel confident?
So I'm really confident that we're going to have a great early access. I'm really confident we're going to have a launch. I guess it's like, do we have the firepower to go beyond the community and really like make a dent, right? So, and I think we do, but if you look at, you know, even games like Raid, when they launched, they were spending tens of millions a month on marketing. And we just don't, you know, we're just not sitting on that sort of cash, which means that my job, a big part of my job, is actually going out and talking to, you know, strategic partners to be able to enable us to be able to do that type of thing. And yeah, we've got a team of 50 people.
Crazy how the team's grown, man.
I know, man. It's insane.
It started with like 6, you know, or whatever. Yeah.
I want to make sure that team is secure, and you know, they've got a future at Fateless, and all of those things. Like, that's, I guess, from the sort of CEO mindset of the company, it's like, that's what would be any sort of worry for me, is like, you know, I don't even know if you know this stat, but something like 96%, I think it is, of games like literally don't launch. They literally don't even get to a launch. Which,
and you're close. I want to knock on wood, but you're looking pretty good, right?
We're looking really good, because we're already at a stage where, you know, we've done our content lock for the launch, we've done our feature lock, which means that, you know, everything's in. Now it's just a case of the next, you know, couple of months is all about polish. It's about polish, bug fixing, and optimizing the build so that lower end phones can run it, basically. So that's our 3 things. So we know we're definitely hitting that, what we've called our MVP. So it's kind of like the minimum viable product. It's like the initial build that we're putting out there to get people to come and play test and enjoy. And it will then run, you know, it will run then on what's called live ops. So we'll do like the monthly feature releases and new heroes and all of those good things in this type of genre.
How difficult or what is your decision-making process like when it comes to how much should we leave off the table on launch? Meaning, I bet
that was the hardest thing.
There's that tug of war between like, this feature is almost ready to go, but at the same time, you don't want to release a game and then have nothing to release in terms of updates for a year, you know? So how much do you hold back versus give it to everybody at launch?
Yeah, I mean, we've got like an 18-month
roadmap or whatever. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and good parts of you know, elements of those features are already like in production, and yeah, it's actually the hardest thing, because you know, you can keep saying, look, we'll just keep putting more features in, we're going to polish it more, we'll do more, and before you know it, you could be another year down the line, right? And
it's easy to say, because I feel like a lot of commenters and stuff, and I've said this too, like, no, take your time, release the best product possible. But there does get to be, I mean, first of all, you don't have a game launched, so you're not making money, A. And B, it's just like anything in life. Eventually, you have to put something out there, you know, like, and get people started. So
what made me realize it, because I was really fighting for, no, I think we need more. But then actually, when you look at the amount of content, if I compared it to when Raid launched, I know it's a different world now, but if I compared to when Raid launched, we've got more features than that on our launch. And also, if I look at the alpha, you know, people say to me that now in the community, they're like, can you just turn the alpha back on? Like, we really enjoyed playing the alpha.
That was really popular.
Game mode, right? So providing you've got a really fun experience, there's enough depth in terms of what you need to be able to do with the content you're launching. You know, I think it's fine. Yeah, we've got our PvP, we've got this kind of like draft mode, we've got campaign with, you know, an actual like cool set of cutscenes and that type of stuff, and story. Tower of Strife, where you can, utilize either your Chaos or Order heroes to fight that. And then we've got a bunch of dungeons, right? So we've got like 9 dungeons that we're launching with. So it's already quite a lot of content, actually.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot.
And obviously a Pantheon boss as well, like a clan boss. So
do you have is it too premature to ask, is there a strongest hero in the game, in your opinion?
There definitely was one in alpha. So
who was it?
Zeus absolutely like
that's
insane.
It feels appropriate.
Yeah, which was fun. Again, like it was one of those amazing pulls to get.
Yeah.
And he just like demolished some of the waves and stuff. But then he was amazing, but then he wasn't in like the best team. So for the final level in alpha, we had Fafnir, our dragon, that had like an infinite health pool, so you could just carry on doing damage. And it turned out like he wasn't even in the final team that did the most damage. So people went more with like a bleed strat, and they were bringing in like Dracula and
cool. That's super cool. That's my favorite thing about this game, honestly, is because I was around, like, not heavily obviously involved in like the day-to-day operations, but I was around in the early days. I think we've spoken about this before, but when you were thinking really about, everybody kind of wanted to get an IP on board, right? But instead we went with like the lore, this world lore, right? Like different gods, different ethos, and different traditions and whatnot, which gives you Dracula and Zeus. The fact that you had those back to back of the strategies is just really cool, because there's no end to the amount of content and expansions that you can run when we're working with all of everything, basically the whole catalog of human lore, right? That isn't trademarked, right?
Yeah, honestly, like someone like the Mayan based gods, they just look so freaking cool, man. Like,
right?
You could just really like play with skill kits, but also we let our animators have like a real field day when they come to things like idol breakers. So when you're just in the roster scene and they do their little flourish type of thing, anyone that's a legendary has just got like a completely bespoke one. And honestly, man, they just do some like really cool stuff. Like that's cool.
Super cool. Well, listen, man, I want to get involved, and I'm sure a lot of my viewers do as well, as early as possible. And I don't know if you have any, but like, is there any perks for loyal raid viewers and people who have watched, myself and you in the past? Is there any way that, is it too late to get in on any like ground floor packages or head starts or whatever when the game launches?
It's like the perfect time right now. So we're literally just launching right now. In fact, probably when this video goes out, it might already be live.
Okay.
We're launching a Godforge minigame called Godforge Quests. And so the main purpose of that game is actually to just give people a bit of a thing to do in between alpha and our early access, but also to give people the chance just to earn some really cool stuff, right, for that launch. So you could earn a legendary hero, a legendary weapon, a legendary imprint, some cosmetics which would be exclusive just for doing this.
Oh, so cool. So what do you do? You just lock how do you... Is it like tied to your email or something to a website?
It'll be a web-based mini game, and it's kind of like one of these, send your heroes out on quests. They complete those quests over a time period. You unlock newer heroes who are able to do it faster, or they might find like bosses to kill. And basically, you're earning this ether on these quests. You can spend the ether on different things in this like mini shop that we've got on the website. So I'll send you a link obviously once it's all up
we'll have that link.
Video.
Okay, so when that goes live, what day did you say?
So it should be on the Saturday. So
I'll make sure this video goes live on Saturday then. Well, so today, guys, it's live. It's live.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's really cool.
And if someone doesn't want to play the mini game, they just want to get a hero for Godforge.
Yep.
You can literally come in on a daily basis. You can come in and do like 2 10 pulls a day. And you'll get like a array of heroes. You lock in that one hero that you think is going to be your best hero for launch, and you can upgrade that. I mean, man, there's some good ones. Like,
can we lock in Zeus, or is he off the table?
Zeus is in the mix. Yeah, he could be there. For me, I really love Sizin, who's one of the Mayan dudes. It's freaking awesome. And then Lamassu, who's I think actually one of the Slavic.
All right, I'm really going to write this down right now, because God knows I will not remember, and I'll be digging for the timestamp.
yeah. But then obviously, things like the legendary weapons as well. So it's actually huge to be able to get some of those early and just be in the mix. So
who was the first one you said? Slizix?
Sizin. It's Cizin. Yeah.
Okay.
It looks like a skeleton, like
all right,
god
cool,
of death
cool,
type
cool.
of dude. Yeah.
All right. That's really cool. I think you mentioned something about, is there some like founders pack or something that you can?
Oh yeah. So the
Tell us
mini
about
game this side of the holidays, founders packs are coming out the other side of the holidays. So it'll be like early January.
Okay.
What we've done is we've actually produced like a physical art book of a bunch of the sort of concept work that went into things like our cinematics or the character designs. Some of those, I guess, some of the notes around how to improve them, some of the different versions that came out before we eventually picked the one we went with. Some of the environment concepting, but then the environments that were finished. So yeah, we got this kind of like physical book, which honestly is, I'm really excited for it.
That's so cool. It's honestly such a cool thing. I mean, for me, as kind of like the collector in me too, it's like it makes you feel almost like more of you're getting on the ground floor of the game, and you're also getting like a little bit of the story of the game as a physical hard copy of something.
Yeah.
Like that's really, really cool, you know?
It's very cool. And so alongside that, so a couple of other physical things, there's going to be like a map of the world of Godforge, and there's going to be an exclusive Godforge coin. So we did some of these like,
in the
for the
art
alpha,
book,
but we're
all
doing
of it?
some new ones. Yeah, so all of that's in the mix, and then there's also going to be like digital rewards as well. So there'll be exclusive arena backgrounds, like so a 3D environment, which will only be for people that buy these packs. So when you fight me, for example, you'll be fighting me in my arena environment. That's one of the things we got in the game anyway.
Oh, that's so
cosmetics.
Cool. Yeah.
And there'll be a portrait and portrait frame and flare. All of those things will be exclusive to these packs, and there'll be all the juicy stuff you'd expect. Like for us, it's Aether Stones, but our equivalent of shards. There'll be shards in there. There'll be energy in there. All of that good stuff to give you a head start when you get into the game. So
and that's on the website too. It's like that's
that'll be on the website. Yeah, so that's going to be coming on the website in January.
Yeah. Talk to me about timelines. I think you said in a previous podcast that you expected the game to be ready by the end of December of this year. Like internally, is that still like, is the game pretty much to where you want it to be or close to at this point?
Yeah, I mean, so we're in that, as I said, we're in that sort of bug fixing, polishing, but basically the game is there. The bones of the game is there. All of the features are in, and then it's a case of, right, now let's make it feel really solid.
And are you thinking March? So early access, explain, is that a beta? Is that the same thing? Is that what you're calling it? Kinda?
There's so many different like words, soft launch, beta, MVP, but ultimately it's a beta, but you keep your stuff, right? So if you came in and bought some packs in this early access, this account will continue all the way through. We're not going to do like a hard reset of the game, anything like that. Unless it really like did not work and people just did not enjoy the game, then maybe it would be a case
back
of
to the drawing board a little
just
bit,
refund and whatever and go again. But that's really not in our plans. Our plans is this is the launch of the game. It's the launch of the game, but we're not going to put a load of paid marketing in until we start to get those kind of like iterations and improvements going.
Player
in,
behavior, like what works, what doesn't, and kind of make those assessments. That makes sense. Do you so if I play the mini game, am I automatically signed up for the early access, or do I have to? Is there another sign up process?
So if you play the mini game, you basically get a Fateless ID. And that will be your ID to then go into the main game. But at the bottom of the kind of godforge.gg page where the mini game is, there will also be a button that says join early access. So that would just mean that you go onto like an email list so that you're made aware as soon as the next version is or the release is going out there. So we tend to do like a monthly update, just let people know what's going on. And obviously, if people come into the Discord, we're super active in there in terms of communication and announcements and that type of stuff as well.
Absolutely. So, we get right now you can play the mini game, set up your Fateless ID, you'll get on the email list, you won't miss anything. And then in early January, we'll have the founders packs that we spoke about with the coins and the books and all the in-game goodies. And then in late February, early March, we'll have
so we're looking at February, March, depending on how quickly we get through what we'd say the sort of severe bugs are, and make sure that the game feels really good. Another big part that people don't really appreciate is all of the optimization work that's going on, right? So we were actually, I'd say we're really fortunate. We got a grant from Google to come and have like an extra team of devs come in and
no way.
optimize our game. And this is pretty rare. It's a pretty rare thing. So a game like Raid would have had this, probably. But that's after they've been established for like a year.
Yeah.
Not, you don't really get this before the game's even out there, but we've just got this team of basically optimizers that are in there, trying to make sure that it works on lower end Android devices, iOS devices, making sure that when an environment loads, you're loading the elements which you need to actually see, and you're not having all of these draw calls on your device, which makes your device burn in your pocket, all that type of stuff. It's just like, just getting us in better shape to release. So very cool, actually.
Is it going to be available on PC at launch as well, cross-platform?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So it's going to. So even in the alpha, actually, we were on PC, Mac, iOS, and Android, and it's our own launcher for PC and Mac.
Ooh, so cool. That was my next question. Is it going to be like Steam or BlueStacks? But no, you'll have your own launcher. That's awesome.
Yeah. No, so again, like I think my experience of BlueStacks was, it feels way worse.
Bad.
Right? I don't know how you feel on that, but
I hate BlueStack. No offense to BlueStacks,
like,
but
it used to be like we had to do it because Ray didn't have the launcher and stuff. But my experience was that's not the way. And I was really clear right from the start. It's like we have to be launching with our own launcher for PC, because I just know so many people like they play on their phone through the day, but they'd rather play on PC when they're home if they can.
Indeed. Yeah, I switch. Yeah. That's awesome. Is there anything that I didn't ask you about that people need to be updated on Godforge? I feel like I have a pretty good feel for the timeline. Oh, well, the actual game launch, is that TBD, or is that like mid 2026 or not sure?
So again, so the way that works really is we do a bunch of user acquisition testing, like a bunch of marketing, and so people that are outside of like our network, right? So you think about all the people that have watched our content over the last few years. They're likely to come in and try the game. I think we're going to get a bunch of them that come in and just be like, I'm interested to see how Hades and the team are pulled together. So we almost got those players we would just expect to turn up. It's the players that perhaps just see us on an ad on Facebook or Google Play Store, any of that type of stuff, and it's like, right, we need to try and pull some of those in and do tests to see if they actually stay. So a lot of the work then is just like around analytics. How long are people playing for? Why might they be dropping off? All that type of stuff. And then when we feel like we've got some good numbers and it feels like actually, people are staying for a good amount of time, then really what we do is we just turn on that marketing funnel. And that's really when you go into launch mode. Is like, we've got this model that works, and we basically push ourselves to a point where perhaps we're not losing money every month. That would be a nice, that'd be a nice.
It's a nice goal to have, right? Nice goal to have.
We're a business, right? So it's, we do need to get to that break-even point so we can continue to build the company and obviously make this the best game we can. So that's ultimately the goals. It's like, let's get it out there, let's try and get to break-even, and then obviously from there it's like, I don't know, man. For me, I said this. I was on a podcast the other day. I just really want for people to come in and love the game. And I'd love for us to have loads of players. Like that's like my personal goals here. Is like I would feel really proud if we had loads of players that really enjoyed the game. So
you certainly have a passionate, rabid following that I think is loads of players, but I'm sure you're hoping that, to your point earlier, it expands beyond just your fan base, the Hades fan base.
I know what it's going to be like. It's so similar, I think, to this content creation that we were talking about earlier, where you start doing a video every day, and you go from, wow, I got 100 views on that video to 1,000 to 10,000. Like these, I think launching the game's going to be similar to that. It's like, wow, and it was the same in the alpha. We're like, dude, we've got 5,000 players playing right now.
If I were you, man, I would be like, especially when it launches, I would never be able to pull away from looking at the data. Like, I'd be like, well, what are they doing now? What are they doing now? Oh, they're playing for an average of 2 hours yesterday, 3 hours today. Like, I would be every little metric. I'd be like, I would not be able to get away, because that's how I am on my YouTube channel in the back. So do you want to hear
a crazy stat from the alpha?
Yeah.
So we had 35,000 players come in, right? For the third alpha, the final alpha that we did, we had our top 20% of players. They played for like over 14 hours a day.
Oh my God, dude.
Well, obviously, like that's the game on auto and stuff. But man, it's just like insane.
It's crazy though. It's crazy, and it's insane. Like Yeah, I mean, I told this story on one of my previous videos, but like even Raid, I was comparing with my fiance, I was comparing like screen time, and I'm like, you spent 7 hours on Instagram last week. What the heck are you doing? And then I looked at mine and it was like 16 hours of Raid. And she's like, wow, man. And that's just my phone, not PC, like in the background as well.
Definitely, man.
So I'm like, yeah, these games can take up a lot of time, but that's nothing compared to those grinders. That's really cool though. Where can people, not to put you on the spot, I don't want you to forget anybody or whatever, but I talked to Charlemagne, who's you connected me with him, who's a great creator, just really super passionate about the community as well, in terms of somebody covering Godforge on YouTube. Any other YouTube channels that people can probably go to keep more up to date with everything on the day-to-day that you'd recommend? I can link them below.
This is really harsh.
I know there's a lot. Yeah, there's like,
you know, I'm like, damn, I don't want to
why don't you do this?
Here,
send me a few links, or have Susie or somebody, and I'll include them all in the description. Yeah.
I mean, but certainly like Unbound Sage does some really cool interviews with members of the team, and some like pretty in-depth like takes on Godforge and some of the stuff that we've released. Adventures of Adam does a lot of stuff around lore and you know, the stuff he's learning from our story. You've got Ragewood that does like a weekly wrap up
I've seen one of his
content, and he does really good stuff. But honestly, man, Charlemagne does really good videos as well. But there is a ton. There's a ton of creators already. And if anyone wants to go back and watch like alpha stuff, just to see what the gameplay was like and that sort of thing, it was like, it's not as polished as it is now in terms of like visuals and stuff like that. But you just want to like get an understanding of the gameplay. I mean, there was probably about 100 creators that did content. I know Scratch did some content on the game as well. So there'll be definitely people that
out there.
The community already like understand and are sort of well versed with.
All right. Well, hey, Simon, thanks so much for coming on. Guys, I have a billion links, everything that we talked about in today's video, including all the content creators, the website, the YouTube channels, and everything else will be in the description below of this video. This is a stupid question, but I want to ask my very final here is, have you given any thought into game number 2?
Well, I have personally.
Okay, I love it.
Yeah. And so and we've got a team of these like industry vets, right? They've got a team that people that have worked on games like EverQuest, Turok, Star Wars Galaxies, League of Legends, Marvel Strike Force, Fleet Command, like crazy games, right? Really, really good games. So they've all got like some ideas as well. But I would either like to go down the road of they're basically called like auto chess games, but like Teamfight Tactics.
Ooh, that's cool.
Hearthstone Battlegrounds. Like for me personally, I love those games. I play them a lot. In my downtime, I play a lot of Hearthstone Battlegrounds or TFT really.
I love that idea, man.
That direction would be cool.
Yeah, I've never really gotten super into that genre, but I played like casually, and I've always felt like I could get hooked, if the right game came along. So that's really cool.
I mean, the other direction might be a roguelike, because I know there's a load of the team that play them a ton. And anyway, there's lots of options. And
that's
we've
our
got
next
our own
video,
IP now,
Simon.
so we could just like move Godforge characters into those sort of worlds, and it would all make sense.
Yeah.
Lots of cool stuff going on, man.
Really cool. Well, hey, thanks for being so generous with your time. I know that you're super busy. And guys, again, everything will be in the description below. We'll have you on closer to the beta or whatever you want to, early access. We'll have you back on. Thanks again for coming on, man.
Thanks so much. Appreciate you having me on and chatting through it, man. It's awesome.
All right. Pleasure's all mine. Thanks for watching till the end, guys. Much love. And as always, take care.
From dusk till dawn, I turn my speakers on. Why they wanna play with the king? I told them meet LeBron. There's darkness in my city, wrong moves, and you won't see the sun. They be talking loud, but never been where the creatures hunt.